Welcome back, guys, to the Orlando Huskies franchise. It is the end of season 3, the recap video, and we're gonna go over some stats, the schedules, look at some scouting, player stats, everything like that. As you can see, we went 3-13, 3-13-1, worst record in the league once again. End of the season very strong though with 2 wins. Take a look at our scheduling first. As we started off pretty rough, losing a ton of games. A lot of games were closer. Like the Eagle game, we should have won. The Broncos game should have won. Commanders game was really close till the end. And then finally got that first win after the bye, and then completely collapsed the next week. Played really well against the Broncos. Can't believe that game was a tie. Got blown out by the Chiefs. Played really well to end the season, even though we only won 2 out of 5 games, but played the Ravens, Cowboys, and Lions all very, very close. Blew out the Bengals, who were the 2 seed, and then beat the Giants in the final week. Go over some awards. We only have a couple guys involved in the awards. Lamb wins MVP for the Chiefs. No Huskies in Offensive Player of the Year. No Huskies in Defensive Player of the Year either. No Offensive Rookie of the Year. Tyreek Given was in there for a while, but just a lack of playing time with Josh playing better took him out. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Steven Stanton, number 2. Kind of shocked he didn't win it. He led the NFL in picks this season, so I am shocked he didn't win it. It was a great pick. If he started those first 3 games, I think he might have won it. Best QB, no Josh in there. Best halfback, Drew Stevens sneaks in at number 8. Dealt with a couple of injuries, just too inconsistent with the injuries to really get higher on the list. Best receiver, I don't know how Hunter hasn't made the list once yet. I think it's ridiculous. Best O-line, obviously our offensive line isn't good. No Huskies. Best D-line. D-line took a step back this year, especially on the pressure. Didn't get a lot of sacks, and that's why they're not in there. And 2 players that took a step back this year, McMillan and Johnson, both nowhere to be found on best linebacker. And best DB, we do have Steven Stan, and all the way sneaking in at number 10, we got Shane O'Neal, who really stepped it up towards the end of the season. Was waiting for him to kind of come back to reality like we saw in his rookie season, and he finally showed it. And best kicker, perfect Samuel Leak, robbed. Lane Miller, you're not good. Samuel Leak is him. But we'll just look at we'll go over the player stats first and then everything else. Josh, 3,169 yards, 22 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, 55% completion percentage, 85.5 pass rating. Was his best season of his career. He's only gotten better every year. His career high in passing touchdowns, less picks this season, best passer rating, and he didn't even play. He didn't even start a couple of games. Would have passed the yardage number from last year. Would have had more touchdowns, and we hope he can improve once again next season. It's Tyreek Gibbons, 1,005 yards, 3 picks, 3 touchdowns, 52% completion percentage, 78.5 pass rating. He was okay. If that injury never happened, he probably would have stayed the starter the full season, but when he did get hurt, Josh came in, provided a lot for the offense that he hasn't in the past, and that's why we stuck with him. And now rushing, Drew Stevens, 164 carries, 817 yards, 10 touchdowns, and no fumbles. Something we like to see. Josh, 27 carries, 232 yards, 2 touchdowns, 9 fumbles. Has to lower that number. All the turnovers in general for the Huskies has to be lower. Danny Barnes really was okay. 40 carries, 161 yards, 2 touchdowns. Did have a fumble. And then Gibbons, 12 carries, 130 yards, touchdown, 4 fumbles. Dante Flowers really only played the last game when Barnes got hurt. 10 carries, 36 yards, no touchdowns, no fumbles. Now we'll look at receiving. Hunter Purcell, third straight season with 1,000 yards. He's just getting better and better every season. At 77 catches, 1,209 yards, 7 touchdowns this season. Really is improving a lot. And this is someone who's really improved a lot. Damian Harrison, second in the team in receiving yards. 51 catches, 853 yards, 4 touchdowns. Kylo, if he could get the drops under control, he's going to be really good, as he had 39 catches, 747 yards, 5 touchdowns. He's a big play magnet. Can't wait to see what he does in season 3. Jason Blacklock dealt with a ton of injuries. 27 catches, 470 yards, 2 touchdowns. He really got hot for a good 5-6 game stretch, and just the injuries kind of kept him from really reaching his full potential this season. As you see, Connor Kelly, 17 catches, 277 yards, 2 touchdowns. Drew Stevens, 262 yards, 2 touchdowns. Gotta get Jamal Lacey involved a little bit more. Like to get him at least 5-10 more catches, especially in the red zone. We like to utilize him. And Mike Haywood and Danny Barnes both couldn't get over 1,000 or 100 on the season. Blocking now. Donovan Wheeler, 10 sacks allowed. Frank Webster, first round rookie, 10 sacks allowed. That right side was pitiful. And then Wyatt Decker had to step in for Randy Norton due to the injury. And, Wyatt started the season as the starter, and he had 4 sacks allowed in one game. The rest of the 13 games he played, he allowed 3 sacks, which isn't bad. We could take that number if you eliminate the 4 sack game. And then Daniel Fernandez, easily our best offensive lineman right now. Has been consistent, doesn't get beat too often, only 2 sacks allowed, and pretty sure he only allowed 2 sacks last year as well. Yep, 2 sacks this year and last year. Really good. Alright, defense. Miles McMillan led the team in tackles. Johnson with 89. Wilcox with 82. Dillon with 72. Gage with 69. Shane with 67. And then you have a huge drop off. Stanton with 34. Wiggins 29. Justin Martinez 27. Trey Gordon 26. He's a free agent. Have to wonder if we're going to re-sign him. Played really well for us after the trade. Green 25, Caden with 20, CJ 19, Willie 16, Javon Young 16, McCutcheon with 12, Rosenberg 8, Grimes 7, Franklin 6, Carrington. Unfortunately, he got hurt. Only with 4. 4 for Patrick, 1 for Austin, 1 for Pat McClendon. None for anybody else. Tackles for loss, Willie led the team with 8. Half of his tackles were tackles for loss. Like to see that. And then you have Wiggins, Gordon, and Caden, all with 7 tackles for loss, tied for second on the team. Then you have Johnson, CJ Hunter, man. If he can stay healthy, this dude's a beast. 6 tackles for loss in how many games did he play? 13 games. It was really 12 because he got hurt halfway through one of the games. Or both of the games, I believe. So it was really 11. 11 games. Once he develops as a pass rusher too, It's gonna be so good. Miles McMillan 5, Wilcox 5, Grimes 5, Gage 3, Shane 2, Carrington 2, Dylan 1, Steven 1, Justin Martinez 1, and Pat McClandon 1. And sacks, numbers took a huge dip from last year. Willie with only 3, Wiggins 2, everybody else from Gordon, Caden, CJ, Grimes, Carrington, Justin Martinez, Pat McClandon with 1. And then you have Tavon Johnson and Wilcox both with a half a sack. Picks, Steven Steen, 5 on the season. What a stud first round pick we had from last year. Excited to see what he could do in season 2. And then Shane with 3, Dylan with 3, Tavon with 2, Wilcox with 1, Cage with 1. That number has to be a little bit higher, as we'll see how many deflections. Dylan and Gage both had 4, Wilcox with 3, Stan with 2, Johnson with 2, Shane with 1, McMillan with 1, and Green with 1. Forced fumbles. We force a ton of fumbles, but we don't recover enough. McMillan with 4 forced fumbles, Wilcox with 3, Johnson with 3, Dylan with 1, Shane with 1, Wiggins, Caden, and Justin Martinez all with 1, but we only recovered 7. Caden with 3 recoveries, Miles McMillan with 2, Shane with 1, and Gordon with 1. And then I know we had a couple of pick sixes. Shane with 1, Trey Gordon with 1, Johnson with 1, and Gage Bloodgood with 1. 4. I don't think Gordon was a fumble 6. We had 3 pick sixes and a fumble 6. And then this was really the first. We'll look at kicking. 19 of 20 for field goals attempted. 31 of 31 for extra points. Sammy Perfect League, living up to his name. As kick return, we finally had some explosive returns as Gage 3 kick return touchdowns. Averaged 27 yards per return, which is pretty good. Punt return, only 9 per return for Connor Kelly. Nothing crazy there. As we'll look at some of the stats. Total offense. That's total yards gains. Total offensive yards. Wonder where we are. Looks like we're bottom 10 in that number. Passing, we might be higher up on the list. Yeah, we are. We're about top 12-ish. Rushing, probably towards the bottom of the league. Yep, bottom 3. Points per game, though, top 7. 7th in points per game, and that's something we've improved on a lot. But points allowed, worst in the league. We have the worst defense in the league. We don't get pressure, force a lot of fumbles, and we get a lot of picks. But pressure has to get better with only 12 sacks. Conversion. Looks like we're about middle of the pack here. 48% on 3rd down for offense. 4th down. Looks like we're gonna be towards the bottom half. Yeah, 50% isn't awful though. Red zone efficiency. Bottom half towards that as well, with only 57% resulting in points. That number has to get better. And defense. That's a really good number. Best red zone defense in the league. We'll take it with the positive there, as the defense isn't too great. And now we'll look at some scouting before we head into the off season. Haven't scouted too crazy. Been looking around. We're most likely gonna take a pass rusher with the number 1 overall pick. Don't know if it's gonna be Hatcher, Norwell, or Landry. It's definitely gonna be one of those three, and kind of just take best best player who I think will fit our team the best with the first overall pick, and we'll just go from there. But short little video to go over all the stats and a recap. I'll show you guys the playoff bracket. See, the Saints and the Broncos are in the Super Bowl. Raiders and Broncos play to get to the Super Bowl. Um, Saints are coming from the 6th seed, beating not one, but the 2 seed as well, and the 3 seed to get all the way to the Super Bowl. And then you have the Broncos, the 1 seed, with the bye, beating the Steelers and the Raiders, cruising their way pretty much to the Super Bowl. See who wins that one next week. But I'll see you guys in the off-season videos. Peace.